Hi everyone, this is Rosa Kelly and I'm here with a new tutorial for country craft creations, and this time I'm going to be using the Bow Bunny on this day paper collection, and I'm going to be making a month-to-month album, and I think it's going to be really fun. So this is the collection, so you get each month, and then on the back there is a different, each month has a different design that goes with the theme of the month. So you have January, February. So I am going to be using probably 2 of each sheet because I'm working with the single sheets. And then I'm also going to be using the 6x6 paper. And so this one, it's really fun because you get smaller sentiments and it's completely different from the 12x12. So I'm going to be using this one mainly to make some tags and embellishments. I'm also going to be using the 12x12 artisan cardstock, and this one is like the cream color, off-white color. And so I'm going to be using 12 of these. You can also find these at countrycraftcreations.com. So let me get started with the basic page construction, and I already did one of these, so let me just share this one with you. So my idea is to make a month-to-month calendar album that is going to be it's going to open as a pop-up page, and so that way when you open every month you can see the calendar and then some pop-up elements, and yeah, so then every page will be a different month. So let me share with you how I'm making the page, and then we're gonna be putting it all together. So I'm going to show you one, and you will do 12 of the same basic page construction. So I'm going to start with the 12x12 sheet, and I'm going to score along 6 inches, and then I'm going to turn it around and score along 6 inches again. And this tutorial this page construction is very easy. So then I'm just gonna fold along my score lines just like that and like that, and then I'm gonna fold this other one like this. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my paper cutter, and I'm going to trim one of the sides just up to the center. So I'm going to trim 6 inches on one of the sides, and at this point it doesn't matter which one you're doing. So I'm going to come from below here along my score line, and I'm gonna go up to 6 inches here. Okay, and then you can also do this with scissors if you like. So once I have this page, to make the construction here, I'm going to show you that one of these ones you're gonna bend in half. So this page will basically you're gonna grab the one, I'm sorry, my bunny is making a lot of noise. So we're gonna grab the one with the, so we have the opening, let's say on the left side for me here, and I'm just going to bend all the way up to connect it with this corner here. And then I'm going to use my bone folder and just crease right there. Okay, and then I'm also going to go ahead and crease it to the other side, just the same line. Okay, so once I have these, all you're gonna do is just kind of fold these up, and then we're gonna fold these to the inside and this one up here. So now you have the basic page, and to make sure this stays here, I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue only on this edge. So I'm just going to use my glue here. You can use double-sided tape if you like, but just working with glue. And I'm going to just place these two together like that. And then I'm going to close my page. And then I'm going to make sure this is nice and flat. And this is my basic page. So this is one of my pages. And notice that this side is open here, and this is going to be the side that is going to be attached to my hinge. And then this is going to be an opening on the top here for a pocket. So that's the very basic page, and we're going to do 12 of this. So now I have all of my basic pages, and let me show you the one that I did first as a sample. So now we're going to go ahead and cover the inside of the page, and you want to cover the inside before we attach it to our, to the whole binding here. So I'm going to give you the measurements for the inside. So basically, if you're using the collection that I am, on the one side you're going to have all of the pretty notes and tags, and on the other side you have the decorated page that goes with that particular month. So I'm going to be using this side, and I'm going to cut two pieces. Let me cut it this way. I'm going to need two pieces of, I'm going to do 5 7/8, and that's basically the 1/8 before the 6 inches. So I'm gonna cut it right there. And since I'm going to need two of that, I'm going to fold, turn it around and do the same thing here. So 5 7/8. And I will do the same with this one. 5 7/8. So again, it's the 1/8 before the 6 inches. And if that is too confusing for you, you can always just do 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So these two are done. So now the next sheet that I'm going to cut is going to be, and I'm going to save these. I'm only going to let me cut this here. Let me take this out. So I'm gonna take this out. So I'm cutting at 6 inches, and then this one I'm going to need a piece of 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, so this one is a little bit smaller because this one we are going to trim in half also. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab the two, I'm gonna place it like a diamond on here on my cutting board, and I'm just gonna line the two corners, the 2 points of my diamond, and I'm gonna cut along like that. So I'm gonna have the two triangle pieces. So then I'm gonna go back into my base page, and I'm going to glue one of these ones here and one here, and you want to make sure you are not on top of your score line. Yeah, so let me go ahead and do this. So one like that, and the next one is such a beautiful paper. I love it, and it's perfect to make a calendar album more than, like a year, month to month kind of albums. Beautiful. Okay, so then I'm going to place the other two, one on this side, just like that. on the next one. And I love this paper, but okay, on this side. Okay, and then I'm going to use my calendar, and I'm just going to trim this a little bit, that side, and here. And then I'm going to take the part that says notes out, so I'm just gonna end, see if you can see that, I'm gonna end on that Saturday. So let me see if, where can I place it so it comes right up. Right there. Okay, so then I have these, and I'm just going to ink my edges a little bit. I'm just using black ink here just to give it a little definition, and I'm going to place it on this side. Now I'm only going to add glue to the sides and the bottom to create a pocket. So I'm just going to place that right on this side, and I'm going to do the same for every month. And I forgot to mention that you might want to write the dates on your calendar before you glue the paper in. I kind of forgot, so my numbers are kind of funky, but yeah, so make sure you write them down before you glue your month. So I am done covering the inside of my pages for all the months, and now I'm gonna show you how I am doing my little pop-up on my page. So for the inside of your page here, all I'm using is a frame little die cut, and I'm just using different ones from the ones that I have on my stash. That way every month you can display, your special picture. And so I'm just going to glue these just like that on the back here, like on the wall of my page. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm going to do the same for all of them, but I will show you how I do one. So I'm using the 6x6 papers, and I'm just going to quickly cut these. I like these little areas so you can write notes. So I'm just going to cut these out. You can use your paper trimmer too, but I'm just trying to do this really fast. And then this little piece I'm going to insert behind my month. We have my calendar, that way I can write special you know, dates, things to remember, kind of like a, you know, like a notepad reminder. And then I'm also going to be using from this paper pad this Happy Valentine's Day. That looks really cute. So I'm going to cut this one out. Just like that. And I'll show you how to make it as a pop-up embellishment. So I'm going to fold this in half. Okay. And I'm going to use some of my scraps pieces here. I'm going to use something like that. I'm just going to make sure it's kind of the same length. So I'm just fuzzy cutting this out, and I'm going to just fold this. This is probably about 1 inch. Okay, so I have a kind of like a rectangular piece like that. So, and then this I'm going to fold in half as well. And I'm going to attach, oops, sorry, one part to this, to my little sentiment, okay, or my little pop-up piece. So I'm just going to add some glue, and I'm going to place this like that. Okay, so I do have a little bit left over here, so I'm just going to cut this out. All right. So, and then for the piece that is on the back, right here, the one that we fold, right on the center. So, okay, so let me fold this in half one more time. So, right on the center here, I'm going to cut the corner like this and like this. Okay. So this is going to allow my page to pop up. I'm actually going to cut this a little bit more. You kind of want it on a 45-degree angle, so you want something like this. And then I'm going to place this just like so, right along the center fold here. So before I do that, I am going to ink this part. Okay, so now I'm just going to add some glue on my little flaps, and I'm going to bend them and just place it right here. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna let this dry for 1 second. And on the meantime, I am going to pick something else. This is really cute, so maybe I'll add these right here on the side. Let me share with you. So maybe I'll add this right here. So if I want to add a date or something, or maybe I'll just do, okay, so I'm just going to do this lady here. Okay, so let me ink this around, and I'm just gonna place this right here to decorate my page. So I'm just putting some in the corner. That way I can still add a picture behind her. So just like that. So now this page is gonna close up like this. So I'm just gonna make sure that is nice and flat. And here is my second page. Now of course you can always add more pop-up elements if you wish. So I do want to keep mine open without too many embellishments, because I kind of want to add these little notes in here. I think that will be cute, so that way you want to write something to remember or something special that happened, then that's also an option. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same for all of my pages. So for my binding, I'm going to use another piece of 12 by 12, and I'm going to cut this at 6 inches. And this binding is going to be a little bit different to what I normally use, because I want my pages to be able to expand. So I'll show you what I mean. So the 6-inch pieces, I'm going to cut them at 2 inches. So I'm going to need about 12 or 13 pieces of 2 by 6. So I'm just going to cut a few more. And then I'm going to score right along the middle. So I'm going to grab these and I'm going to score at 1 inch. Just like that. And then I'm going to fold and mark my score line. And then you want to make sure that all of your books are, or all your pages are the same way. And so basically you will have the point on this side out here. And so yeah, so make sure they're all on the same orientation. And then you're going to connect them. So this is my first one, and I'm going to glue these on the outside. Now you might think, why don't we insert them on the inside here? And I chose not to do that just because I feel like if I insert this here and then I insert on the next one, I'm gonna get kind of like a crocodile mouth effect on my album. So by attaching them on the outside of the page, it allows it to expand a lot more. And I want to make sure my book opens completely, because I want every page to open like at a 90-degree angle here. So I'm going to just glue these ones on the outside. So let me show you one, and then I'll just continue the rest. So I'm going to add some of my glue, and I'm going to place it flush with the edge of the page. Okay, and then I'm going to add a glue on this other side and add my next page. Now make sure your orientations, like I said, are on the same side. So this is going to allow my book to open kind of like an accordion. It's going to open up completely. So if I would have put it in here, this would have like restrained my pages. So then this would have just not be able to open all the way. So that's why I chose to do that. And then if you have like a little bit of extra, just go ahead and trim. Like I have a little bit of sticking up here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that. And then I'm just going to continue adding my pages together. Okay, so I have them all together, as you can see. So each layout is going to, this is going to be my front cover. So each month is going to have the pop-up page and then 2 other pages that we're going to do in a minute. So I just wanted to show you. So the last one, we have the December month, and we don't have the extra pages that we do for the other ones. So I'm going to add I'm going to cut a piece of 6 by 6, and I'm going to add it on the end. Just that way they're all uniform and they have the same exact layouts. And then I'll show you what I want to do for those pages. So I'm just going to add the last page here. Okay. And here. And the very last page here. So now I'm going to use the journaling tags, and I'm going to cut them at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, just like this. And I'm going to use these ones for each one of my months. So let me share with you here. So if you have let's say the first month of January, then this journaling tag I'm going to place right here. That way we can journal important events that happen during that month. And so I'm going to add that one right there, and I am also going to cut another piece of 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 for the other side. So let me just place this right here, 5 3/4. Let me make sure it's straight. And 5 3/4. There we go. So this piece will go on this other side. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut some stripes of these are going to be 6 by 3. So I'm going to actually cut these at 3 by 3. So these are going to be on the corner here, and I'm just going to cut just a little bit on the top here. And this is going to be a little tag spot if we want to add more pictures or some notes, something to remember. So that's gonna go right there. Okay. And then we can also decorate this part, and I can probably use, let me see here. So I'm going to cut this and just put this on my pocket, but then I'm also going to cut one of these little notes, and I'm going to add that right on the center here. So I'm just going to ink it and add this right there. And so now we have a little tag spot if we want to add some pictures, some notes, some cards. And then so I'm going to do the same for all the months. So I wanted to show you how to cut your paper when we already took some pieces out. So don't feel like you don't have enough paper. So we're going to cut this one as normal. We're gonna cut it at 5 3/4 here by 5 3/4, like this. So this one will go on the book, and then if you want to keep these so you can, you know, take use of that page, and then we can probably use this this area right here, because you don't want to use the calendar again, because we already have that on the other page. So I'm gonna cut this at 5 3/4, and then I'm gonna cut this again at 5 3/4, and see how we have that hole, the void here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it as if we were just as if we had the whole page. So it's gonna be like this. Let me go ahead and ink around just a little bit, and then after we put it, we're going to use a little piece of the little cardstock that we have here, and I'm cutting it at 3 by 3, and that's going to be kind of like a corner pocket here, and then you won't notice that you're missing that part. So I'm going to trim a little corner off just like so, and then I'm just going to add the glue on the 2 sides, and this time I'm gonna place it right on top of where I have that void, so it seems like we have a complete piece of paper, even though we don't. Okay, so just make sure you save everything. Don't think that you need another page just to cut a 6 by 6. So I'm just going to finish inking and adding my pages. For my page inserts, I'm going to be using the Spellbinders die Nestabilities, and this is like a, you know, like a pretty border. So I'm going to be using the larger one, and so I went ahead and cut 12 of them because I will be needing 12. And then I'm just going to add a little pearl right on the top and center, just like that. And then these ones are going to be inside my page like that. Okay, so I am done covering all the inside of my book now. So I am ready to start working on my cover. So for my covers, I'm going to need 2 pieces of chipboard that measure 6 by 6, and I'm going to put one on the front and one on the back, and I'm not gonna do that yet until I decorate my chipboard. So I'm also going to be using some of this cardstock that you can also get at Country Craft Creations, and I love the colors and the design on it. So yeah, so this was part of my design team package, and I will put the link down below to the store. That way you guys can find everything that I'm using for this tutorial. So I'm gonna cut this chipboard, cardstock at 6 by 6. Okay, and then I'm going to glue my 6 by 6 pieces right onto my chipboard here. And both sides are very cute. Like the back, it's very shimmery. It's very thick. It's a very thick cardstock, so I really like it. So let me put this down here. And then I'm going to do the same on the back. And then I'm going to ink all the edges using my Distress Ink Vintage Photo. So I'm just gonna go around the edge of my cardstock, my chipboard. So I'm using Blue Fern Studios, these little circle motifs that I also got on my design team package, and I'm just going to use my brown acrylic paint and color all around it. Okay, and now I'm going to use some texture paste and just add a little bit of texture to my background here. And so I'm using the Tim Holtz this little stencil, and I'm just going to add some of these along this side and some more over here. Okay, and then I'm going to play around with my shape and see if I want it on the center, maybe I want it on the side. So let me take care of this. So I know that for this album I do want to add a closure, so I'm going to be using this little doorknob. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. That way I can play around my doorknob. Okay, so I'm going to remove this and make a hole. Maybe more in here. Okay, so I know this is where I want my doorknob. Okay, so now that I know where that is, I can play around with my circle. I'm just going to dry my texture paste. Okay, so then I'm also going to be using some of my scraps. Here I have these two different colors, so I'm going to just put one on top of the other, and so all I'm doing right now is just playing around with what I have. So I already went ahead and like just kind of went around with my scissors and distressed the edges. And then so I think I want to put that right there, but I'm going to cut my shape here. Let's see. I'm going to separate this in two. Okay, so that way I can see some of these up there and some of these down here like this. So I'm not really sure yet of how I want this to look. Maybe I just want one. I also have these 49 market flowers. And these are called, let me see here. Oh, I can't see. These are called Shimmer and Shine. So these are beautiful, gorgeous flowers. So I intend to put a small picture right there on my front cover. That's why I'm doing that little layout. So let me see here. If I want to do it like this. I do want to be able to appreciate some of the shape. So maybe I will just do something like that. I'm not too sure. So let me go ahead and start adding these as I am thinking, so I can show you how I'm going to bind this. So these are already connected. They're kind of like an accordion fold, I guess. They're not really an accordion, but they're all connected with each other. So I'm just adding the covers for to give it more stability and make sure it's gonna stand up on its own. So I'm adding the back, and then I'm going to add the front here. Okay. So I'm going to use, I had this on my stash, which is like a Ute, and it's very wide. So I'm going to be using these for my spine. And the reason why I'm using these is because I want my spine to be really soft. So you can use any piece of fabric that you have. I do want to add a lot of this glue because I don't want my spine coming out. Even though this is not really connecting my book, it is just covering, it's just covering the binding here. So I want to give it enough room to expand, and let me just add some more glue on the other side. Make sure it's straight. Okay, so that's going to cover my spine, and at the same time it's going to allow me see how flexible it is here. So this can open at any month, and this is not going to be a restriction. So it's the only purpose of this is when you close your album, it looks complete. I forgot I was going to add my seam binding here on the back. So let me see if I can still do that. Okay, so I was able to open this up again, and I'm going to, I was lucky it wasn't dried all the way yet. Okay, so I'm going to punch a hole. And that's just gonna be for me to add a brad so I can hold the seam binding. So I'm going to punch a hole here too. Okay, so I am going to glue it, but I like to add that. So I'm going to put lots of glue around my little hole here, and I'm going to add my seam binding into my this little brad. Okay, so that way it's going to be glued in, but at the same time it's going to be held by my brad. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just opening this up, the little brad, and yeah, so I'm making sure it's all glued together. I'm gonna add some more of my fabric tack here, and now I'm ready to close this up. Okay, so I'll just play with it, and then okay, so now let's continue here. So like I said, I want to be able to put a picture there, so I'm just going to layer this. I'm going to use my fabric tack again and place this half right there. I'm gonna add this right here, and then I have a room to put a picture in there. And then I'm just going to complete the look with some of these gorgeous flowers. I'm gonna put one right here, or maybe one's enough. Let's see. I feel like I need a smaller flower. Let me see if I can add some color maybe. Yeah, I think I need some color. I'm also going to be using some of this gorgeous trim that Tammy sent me, and I'm just going to put this right here and add it right on this side. So maybe I can add it. Let me move this. Okay, so let me add this one first. And then I'm ready to add my leaf and my flower. And And then I'm just going to ink on my page around, and I'm going to be using this cute little hello from Heidi Swap that I just had this on my stash, and I thought it was really cute, and it's super appropriate to the theme of the book because we're saying hello to a new year. Oops. So I'm just going to add some more of my fabric tack, and now we are done. And I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and I will do a final walkthrough on a separate video. And there we go. And please let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.